4-year-old little girl goes missing and is found days later in her bed. That being said, here's my usual warning. This video does include a child, a 4-year-old little girl. If you think that listening to this is going to harm your mental health in any way, please skip this video and I will see you in my next one. Take care of yourselves. I mean it. I love you. I want to start covering more cases in Mexico because there are a heartbreaking amount and many of them remain unsolved to this day. So we're going to start talking about those in the upcoming weeks. Today we are talking about Paulette. I would personally pronounce her last name Guebrara. I'm not sure if I'm saying it wrong. Correct me if I am. Paulette was a 4-year-old little girl. She was the baby of the family. She had an older sister and they were born to parents Lisette and Mauricio. The family lived about 1 hour away from Mexico City. Paulette was as precious as she looked. She's a cute little angel baby girl. She was a preemie. She was born at only 25 weeks old, and when she was born, she weighed only 1.7 pounds. So small, and because of that and complications that her mom had during her pregnancy, from the moment that Paulette was born, she suffered from developmental disabilities. She struggled with motor skills and language deficiencies. Doctors were worried that she wouldn't even be able to walk on her own, and while she was growing up, her parents did everything they could, getting physical therapy, medical help, doing everything that they could afford to do. That being said, they were a pretty well-off family. They were doing well financially, so they were able to do everything they could to give Paulette the best life that she could have. At 4 years old, little Paulette was unable to form complete sentences. Her speech was unfortunately not as advanced as it should have been at 4 years old. And the family had 2 live-in nannies, sisters Erica and Martha, which is a common thing in Mexico to have nannies that live with you. But they were mostly hired on top of their usual housekeepers to help with the care of Paulette. Overall, a pretty happy, successful family from the outside looking in, but as we know, everything is not what it seems behind closed doors. In March of 2012, Mauricio, the father, planned a 3-day weekend trip with his 2 daughters, 4-year-old Paulette and her sister that was 7 years old. Her name is Lisette, which is the same name as the mom. They returned home from that trip the night of March 21st of 2010. When they got back, Lisette, the mother, got the girls ready for bed, put them to bed, and then everyone in the house fell asleep. Actually, apartment. They lived in an apartment. When the nannies woke up and went to go get the girls to get them ready for the day, Paulette was not in her bed. In fact, she wasn't anywhere. Keep in mind, she was not able to walk on her own because of her disability, so her sneaking out of her bed in the middle of the night just wasn't an option, making it all that more strange that she was just gone. The nannies as well as the housekeepers were all freaking out, as anyone would be when a 4-year-old goes missing, but even more so because their job was to care for Paulette. They were in a panic and they started looking for her everywhere in every inch of the apartment they lived in, which was 2 stories, and when they failed to find her in that apartment, they went all up and down the apartment complex, the entire building itself, to see if they could find her. But you know who wasn't searching, who wasn't helping look for Paulette, who didn't do anything at all for that matter? Her parents, Lisette and Mauricio. When they were told that Paulette was not in her bed and wasn't anywhere else, they seemed to be unbothered. They just simply were not concerned. It would be Mauricio's sister who would call the local police to inform them of Paulette's disappearance after Mauricio just casually mentioned in the conversation with her that his daughter was missing. When officers and detectives showed up to search for Paulette and assess the situation, they didn't really find anything that stood out because everything apart from her being gone seemed to be completely normal. There were no signs of forced entry, no signs of a struggle. The apartment was in the same condition that it was always in. Paulette's bedroom raised no red flags. And weirdly enough, their apartment complex had security cameras both inside of the building and outside. Security cameras showed Paulette walking inside of her apartment with her father and her sister, but they never show her walking out. As you can imagine, when this case hit the news, it made headlines. Everyone was talking about it, not only because it was a 4-year-old little